This presentation will be on interpretivism paradigm, Shelley's story through attachment and family stress theories. This presentation explores how attachment theory and family stress theory offer insights into Shelley's life story. We will analyze shifts in her attachment style, key family stressors, and how these experiences influenced her emotional development and coping strategies. By integrating both theories, we will better understand her growth and resilience. Attachment theory outlines 4 primary styles that emerge from early caregiver relationships, shaping how we view ourselves, trust others, and form connections. Bowlby's core ideas were that children form internal working models based on early caregiver interactions, guiding future relationships. Attachment is evolutionary and instinctive, not just about physical needs. This was inspired by Konrad Lorenz's animal imprinting. Ainsworth was a significant contributor to attachment theory. She developed the strange situation to observe children's responses to separations and reunions. This helped identify attachment styles: secure, avoidant, and ambivalent anxious. Secure attachment is safe exploration with caregiver comfort. Insecure attachment is anxious, avoidant, or disorganized behaviors due to inconsistent caregiving. Early attachment bonds influence emotional and social development throughout life. Secure attachment promotes emotional regulation and resilience. Insecure attachment can lead to relational and emotional difficulties in adulthood. Hazen and Shaver's research expanded on Bowlby's work to adult romantic relationships. Attachment styles continue to shape love, trust, and intimacy in adulthood. Securely attached adults are healthy, and they have trusting relationships. Anxiously attached adults seek approval and fear abandonment. Avoidantly attached adults struggle with intimacy and prefer emotional distance. Family stress theory examines how families respond to challenges, emphasizing the role of resources, perceptions, and coping strategies in managing stress and adapting to change. Cohesive families cope better with crises, highlighting the importance of unity and adaptability. Families respond uniquely to stress, influenced by their resources and coping abilities. Hills theorized and came up with the concept of roller coaster response. Stress can cause a response. Families reach a new level of functioning, and it can either strengthen or weaken the family based on how they adapt. Hill's model, the ABCX model, signifies family stress theory. A is the stressor, B are the resources, C is the perception of stressors, how the family views the stress, and X is the outcome, crisis or successful adaptation. Going off of the original ABCX model from Hill, McCubbin and Patterson added on and created the double ABCX model. Instead of looking at just one stressor at a time and how the family adapted or was impacted, the double ABCX model emphasizes all of the stressors over time. It has the resources that the family uses, like support systems or coping skills, and the perception of both stressors and available resources. The X is not just the crisis or the adaptation for one outcome, but instead it is the adaptation or crises depending on coping. Resilient families are adaptable, strong, and capable of finding meaning in adversity. Traits include flexibility and the ability to derive purpose from challenges. For attachment theory, these were the questions and responses that were asked during the interview. How would you describe your attachment style during your childhood? Shelley stated, growing up, it was pretty secure. I didn't worry about too much. I always knew I was going to get fed. I was going to go to school. I was going to have clothes. I was going to get what I needed. I didn't have any issues going to Grandma and Grandpa if I needed to discuss anything or to talk to them about anything. It was a pretty secure relationship growing up. How would you describe your relationship with your parents growing up? Shelley stated, I think mine was pretty typical. I didn't have any issues. There was not craziness going on. You know, Grandma and Grandpa didn't drink. I knew friends who had parents who drank and got crazy, and I had two homebody parents who hung around, cooked and baked, and, it was just a mellow household. There was nothing too crazy about it. There weren't fights where they were throwing things and screaming and yelling at each other. Have you noticed any changes in your attachment style as an adult? What do you think caused these shifts? Shelley stated, it went from being in a relationship where I always felt like I was giving 100% and getting only 5% back. Then back to realizing I won't be in that kind of relationship ever again, and I will not expect less than what I want from somebody anymore. I know what my breaking point is and what I will and will not deal with. It was pretty cut and dry. Can you think of any specific events or interactions that help you move toward a more secure attachment? Shelley stated, when I finally left Dad and realized I didn't have to deal with that anymore, I became almost extremely independent. The point where I didn't care if I was in a relationship or not, because I wasn't going to rely on anybody else for my happiness. How do you think your attachment behaviors towards me or Rylan and Jessica have changed since we were babies? Shelley stated, I don't know if it changed. I think I became my mother. And I know that sounds weird, but I think that's kind of what happens is you become the better version of your mother. Because you always think your mother is great. For family stress theory, these were the questions that I asked and Shelley's responses. How do you think family stress affects individual members' emotional well-being and relationship with each other? Shelley stated, I think it affects the people who are ready to deal with it. If you are ready to tune out, it doesn't matter and it sometimes becomes overwhelming. And I can see the point of wanting to tune it out, but again, you just have to deal with what you need to do. It's easy to go in the room and close the door and not deal with it. And it just made me realize I wasn't with someone who was supporting me no matter what I did. The next question I asked was, looking back on a particularly difficult time for your family, what could have helped your family cope better with the stress? Were there any changes in how you interacted or supported each other? Shelley stated, just having support would have been nice, but I think when the other partner is not available to give that, there's no way you're going to get around that. And eventually you find someone who can give that to you, whether it's somebody in the family or somebody else. You have to find somewhere to give you any amount of support when you're not getting it from somebody else. Can you reflect on a time when you felt particularly supported or unsupported by your family or partner during a difficult situation? What impact did that have on your relationship? Shelley stated, "When Rylan and Paul got in that accident up on the hill, and I ended up having to run Rylan to the hospital, I felt like I was doing everything, and Dad was just shutting down completely. And I realized I couldn't rely on him for anything, and there was no support behind that. So it was a time to suck it up and just do what had to be done, because nobody else was going to do it." When faced with challenges, do you tend to turn toward others for comfort and reassurance, or do you prefer to handle things on your own? Shelley stated, "It gets to the point where sometimes I become extremely independent and refuse to ask for help, because early on in relationship with ex-husband, it became showing signs that I was weak, not that I actually needed help. So it was looked on as a negative thing when I asked for help. So it kind of became a process of, okay, fine, I'll do it myself. I don't want to look weak. I don't want to be disappointed in anybody. So I'll just do it myself and not deal with anybody else." How would you describe the role of trust and emotional closeness in your family relationships? I think when two people can trust each other and depend on each other, it really strengthens the family unit. But when you're with someone who can't trust, someone who doesn't make you feel secure, it changes the dynamics a lot. The lack of security affects everyone in the family, and it trickles down to everyone involved. Synthesis of the two theories for attachment theory and family stress theory. Before I delve into how attachment impacts family stress and coping, and vice versa, I would like to post one of the interview questions that I asked Shelley and her response. So when you reflect on your life as a whole, how do you think both attachment, your attachment type, and family stress have combined together in shaping your emotional and psychological development?
It's a tough one. Looking back, I still see a lot of things where I was really insecure, especially dealing with relationships. And I grew from that to a point where I can be in a stable one that's not insecure and not stressful, and realize that stress may come up, but it's okay. It's not a breaker, and it doesn't have to lead to a big fight or a dilemma or other issues pop up from it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because, family and stress will always be there, but when you're with somebody that allows you to be secure and have that attachment, it's easy to handle that family stress.
Right, absolutely.
Shelley grew up with secure attachment, stable and supportive relationships with her parents, fostering emotional security and independence. Attachment theory suggests that secure childhood attachments promote trust and healthy relationships later in life. Shelley's attachment shifted when she entered a relationship that didn't meet her emotional needs, particularly during stressful events like Ryland's accident. In line with family stress theory, the ABC X model, the crisis A was the accident, but the resources B, support from her partner, were lacking, leading Shelley to feel isolated and unsupported. This perception C resulted in a personal crisis X, forcing her to handle the situation alone. Shelley's experience highlights how stress and insecure attachment can lead to increased independence. She became less dependent on others for emotional support and more self-reliant, shifting back toward a secure attachment style. Family stress theory shows how stress can lead to growth. Shelley's resilience emerged when she learned to trust herself and set boundaries. eventually moving back to a secure emotional connection. Trust plays a critical role in both theories. Shelley's secure childhood attachment provided a foundation of trust, but her partner's lack of trust led to emotional stress. Family stress theory emphasizes that trust as a resource during crisis impacts family dynamics. When trust is lost, stress increases. When trust is restored, family resilience improves. Secure attachment provides the foundation for better family stress management. Stressful events can challenge attachment styles, but resilience can help shift back to a secure attachment through independence and boundary setting. Trust is a key resource for both healthy attachment and coping with stress within families. In conclusion, by integrating attachment theory and family stress theory, we gain a deeper understanding of Shelley's emotional development and resilience. Her secure childhood attachments provided a strong foundation for trust and emotional security. However, significant life stressors, particularly in her marriage, challenged this sense of security, causing shifts in her attachment style and coping mechanisms. The ABCX model of family stress theory illustrates how crises, such as family emergencies, can lead to feelings of isolation when support systems fail. Yet, Shelley's journey also highlights the power of resilience. By setting boundaries and becoming more self-reliant, she was able to restore a sense of security and rebuild trust in her relationships. This synthesis of attachment and stress theories shows how early experiences shape emotional well-being, while life challenges can catalyze growth and adaptation, ultimately fostering stronger and more secure relationships.